Now this clay is really firm, so if you were throwing it as a beginner, it would be really difficult.
So you just push down with both hands, one on the side.
Yeah, what I'm doing is I'm using this hand, taking it down, holding the other in place. And you can see this is not touching because where it's touching, there's no clay on my hand. So if your hand starts hurting there, you're pushing it down too far. So I let the tip of my finger kind of hold that in place, and then I just take this and take it over, and then just take it down gently. So we tend to be rather lazy, so we want to just center the outside edge of it, because the inside part is already centered. And I'll show you when I throw the bigger one here in a minute, a couple of ways of doing that. So I set a little groove by forcing this hand down in the thumb. Then I take these two fingers, push down in like so, and then I come across at 5 o'clock. Right there's 5 o'clock, like you're going to get off from work. And then I just push it into my hand. And it looks like I'm doing all the pushing with this. I am not. I'm doing some lifting with this. But that's opening. So a lot of potters, they center, they'll open instantly, and then they'll pull 3 times and then shape it. And then they're on to the next piece. Beginning students pull and shape. I mean, they half hour on one piece. So let's take this, collar it in a little bit so it'll come up, and I'll do another knuckle pull. I've got my hands against it here. I brace my hands, and I just come straight up. And if I
slow the wheel down and come to the top.
Yeah, I slow it down because this wheel tends to really accelerate at a certain point. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit of moisture on my fingers so it'll run down rather than just putting it right there. You have to always remember to keep those hairy hands covered. My grandkids call me Harry Potter because I have hair all over me and I make pots. So, and if that gets too dry, you've got to come back in. And this is pretty thin already, so. And you can straighten it out down here with your hands. It's bending over because of this wrist. But on this case, I want to make just a simple pot with a flaring lip. Yes. And we could put a lid on this really easily if we wanted to. At this stage, we can take it in a little bit more if we don't like that. This down here, once you stretch it, you normally don't come back up into the top and move it, but I will bring this out and flatten it down quite a bit. It's kind of out of kilter. Well, we can actually roll it over if you want and roll it up under there. It's not going to work very well, but if I were making a pot for a lid, I can do that. And we can leave that as a place for a lid. Normally I wouldn't have it that open for a lid to be on it. All right. And it's easier to get this off with a needle because you don't run the chance of ruining it. And so I'm going to look at this and just guess. Normally we use calipers, but let me see if I can make a lid without the use of calipers. And this time I'm going to just add a little bit of decoration that way so it's visible. So if you'd grab me one of those, and then if you'll just leave that sitting right there, then I'll guess add a lid for it. Let me take this one. Notice I brace my arm against my leg, and we can take these and bring them up and then just force it over like that, and it'll actually center itself. It's just that we tend to knock it off by what we're doing. Now I'm going to raise it up a little bit because I'm going to pull the lid off of here.
How do you measure for the lid?
Normally use calipers, but right now I don't have a set of calipers back here, so I'm just going to guess at it. I'm going to close this in a little. And if I did 3 or 4 of these in a row, I'd get much better at them. But force that down a little bit. Leave a little groove there. Take a little of that off. Try to get a little flow on that. I think it needs to be just a little bit wider, and then we'll see how close I am. You always keep that old clay off of there. Whoops, I just bumped it. You can use it. If you make one for me, I'm going to just, I'm going to use yours as decoration.
Probably. Wow.
It's off a little bit. And so, but anyway, normally you'd never put them on there anyway, so you can see, you can guess at it and be wrong. Now, if I just set it off to the side, then I could trim it. But by measuring, you'll never be off.